Welcome to NFL Imperialism. You may have seen this concept floating around YouTube, but I wanted to put my own spin on it and hopefully improve it. Before we get started, I humbly ask that you take a moment to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. This is going to be a series, and this channel has some other videos as well, sports related, entertainment related. We do a lot here, trying to grow the audience. We appreciate the fact that you're here right now. We ask that you continue to stay with us. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Here's the basic concept. All NFL teams are placed on a map of the United States, in the state based on their location. States with multiple teams are placed as geographically accurate as possible. For the sake of simplicity, all logos used throughout are modern. There are 3 exceptions to this. First is the Rams. We didn't want to use the LA Rams logo for when they're in St. Louis. The second is the Oilers/Titans. When they changed their name, they changed their logo completely, so we did that as well. And lastly, the Redskins/Commanders, for the same reason as Oilers/Titans. We spin the wheel to get our first team. Then we spin the arrow to see what direction that team will go from the center of that team's logo. If that team crosses into another team's border, those 2 teams will then play with the attacking team on the road. Whoever wins that game will take over and occupy the other team's land, expanding their territory. If that team crosses into empty land, they will take over and occupy that land, expanding their territory. The major difference with this version of imperialism is once a team expands their land, their logo will shift to the center of that land, changing their attack point. I do this the best I can with my limited artistic abilities. This continues until we have one team standing that will control the entire United States. To really spice things up, we'll be going through every NFL season beginning with 1966, when the first Super Bowl was played, to determine a different imperialism champion for every season. Instead of doing the simulations on modern Madden games, I thought it would be more fun to do them on Tecmo Super Bowl 3 for the Super Nintendo. If a game's gonna have bad AI, it can at least be a game that's nearly 30 years old and is super fun to play. We hacked the game, changing the players' names and attributes to match with their performance for that season. However, I didn't change jersey numbers or skin tones, so it's possible those attributes will be incorrect. We chose this version of Tecmo Super Bowl not only for the expanded rosters and playbooks, but also because it has a 2-point conversion. With all that said, we're ready to begin. We're going right into the 1966 season. Although at this time the NFL and the AFL were separate entities, and indeed separate leagues, their champions did face off against each other in what was known as the NFL-AFL Championship game, which we know today as Super Bowl I. And that matchup was between the NFL champion Green Bay Packers and the AFL champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Packers won that game, and it wasn't particularly close, and they're now retroactively recognized as Super Bowl I champions. Can they repeat the trick by also winning imperialism? Now, through a series of metrics that this channel has produced, we have a top 5 and bottom 5 for the league in each season. 1966 tells us that yes, the Green Bay Packers were the best team that season. It also tells us that the Chiefs were the second best. These teams in the bottom 5 are going to have a hard time working their way up, but anything can happen here in imperialism. Let's take a look at where we're going. The first ever spin of the imperialism wheel is going to give us my favorite team, the San Francisco 49ers. Might they be eliminated in the first game? The arrow is going to take us slightly southwest. That is going to hit the territory of the Oakland Raiders. Battle of the West Coast. First game of imperialism. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of rooting for my team, but if they're the first ones out, they're the first ones out. Let's take a look. The Raiders have been moving the ball, but the 49ers have stymied 2 of their drives with interceptions. Here late in the second half, Tom Flores, that is another interception just inside the 50-yard line. That's cornerback Jimmy Johnson. He's breaking free and running it back for a touchdown. His second interception of the half, the third for the 49ers. As time expires, that's going to give them a 17-0 lead with the extra point. And in what has to be considered an upset, the 49ers go into Oakland and take care of business handily. A 34-6 final score That will knock the Raiders out of Imperialism. The 49ers will take over their territory. They now control Northern California. We go back to the wheel, and it will give us the Boston Patriots, as they were known then. The arrow is going to take them slightly northeast. The Patriots, if they don't get landed on early, are going to stay in for a long time. It's really hard to attack them with that thin little space that Massachusetts has. But as they expand, it gives them more opportunity to be attacked. That's easier done if they get Vermont or possibly Connecticut. But when they get New Hampshire, like they do here, that closes them down just like they were before. The Patriots do expand their land, though. We're going to take a look now and see if the wheel wants to give us a game. It's going to land on it's going to stay there with the Chargers. The arrow will take us to the south-southeast. That is the unoccupied territory of Arizona back in 1966. So the Chargers will take over that state, and they will leave the borders of California to expand their land. One more time at the wheel, one more time looking for a game. That almost hit the Chargers again. It's going to be the Jets. The arrow will go slightly northwest. That is going to land them in the area of the Philadelphia Eagles. They will travel there and see if they can take over their land. It's a high-scoring game. The Jets are clinging on to a 31-28 lead. Joe Namath, a quick throw to fullback Matt Snell. He spins around, gets some speed going, and he is taken down at the 6-yard line. The Eagles are going to try to hope to hold him to a field goal here. They've actually knocked him back. It's 3rd and 17. Namath with the play action. Throws to Snell, makes a leaping catch, and gets into the end zone. An incredible play. Joe Namath's 4th touchdown pass of the game. The first 3 all went to Don Maynard. And the Jets are going to hold on to this game 38-28. Quite a high-scoring game. The Jets become the first AFL team in 1966 Imperialism to win a game. They don't have much land here down in southern New Jersey, but they now turn eastern Pennsylvania into a different shade of green in expanding their territory. We've eliminated 2 teams here, and the wheel might give us a 3rd. That is going to land on Detroit Lions. The arrow is going to take them about northwest, and from the center of their logo, that's taking them right into the heart of the champions. The Green Bay Packers are going to defend their land and their championship here in Imperialism. The Lions are hanging tight here with the Packers late in the first half. 3rd and goal from inside the 1. The pitch to Tom Nitschke. He fumbles. Willie Davis forces it. That's Lionel Aldridge picking it up. He could take it. He breaks a tackle. That's Nitschke making the chase, getting him down. To a Packer field goal, making it 10-0. They pulled away in the 4th to win 27-6. The Lions did give it a run, but the Packers are too strong, and they win the game. They take over the state of Michigan, and we're going to recenter the logo here as best as we can without putting it right inside of Lake Michigan. The Packers move on. Off to the wheel we go once again. It looks like it might not hit the Vikings. It's going to sneak into the Steelers. And the arrow will go to the northeast. That's going to put them up against the Jets. The Jets are going to be the first team to play twice. They're going to try to take over the entire state of Pennsylvania. Let's take a look. These aren't quite the dynasty Steelers of the 70s, but they're hanging in there. This is Dick Hoke around the edge. Hasn't had a good game to this point, but this is a fantastic run. Dragging somebody, dragging someone else. That is a touchdown. The pending extra point will give the Steelers a 14-13 lead. They carry a 24-20 lead into the 4th quarter. Joe Namath takes the snap, steps back, throws it to George Sauer, who turns on the afterburners, but he is caught from behind by Rich Saul. That's a fumble. The Steelers recover, and they're going to win this game. It goes to show that even though the Jets are good, the NFL is ahead of the AFL at this point in time. The Steeler invasion is successful. They now take the rest of Pennsylvania plus southern New Jersey, wiping the Jets off the map. The Steelers move on. The wheel's been giving us a lot of games lately. Let's see if we can keep that streak alive. It's going to land on the Chicago Bears. Arrow is going to take them to the southwest, directly into the state of Missouri. That's going to be the Cardinals, formerly of Chicago, at this time in St. Louis. Bears at Cardinals is up next. The Cardinals offense just never got going in this one. This is quarterback Charlie Johnson looking for someone to throw to. He found somebody. That's Bears defensive back Benny McCray, the second of his 3 interceptions, and he is getting quite the escort into the end zone here for the touchdown. This puts the Bears into a 20-0 lead in the second half. Their final score of the game will be 23-0. The Bears win and knock out the Cardinals, take over Eastern Missouri. We're up and at 'em once again, and the wheel seems to have taken a liking to the Chicago Bears. Here they are once again. Yes, just snuck in there from the Steelers. They're not going to have to play a game this time, though. They're going dead east. That is the state of Indiana. And Chicago, 1966, they're not so powerful a team, but they are expanding their territory. After that expansion, we are back to the wheel, and this is going to be a 50-50 between the Broncos and the Browns. It just gets into the Browns portion of the wheel. Arrow heads slightly northwest. That's taking Cleveland right into the Packers territory. This is a good Cleveland team, but the Packers at home are going to be a bit too much for just about anybody. That's Carroll Dale making the touchdown reception. In reality, the Packers' running game is what's gotten them this far. This makes it 38-13 in the fourth. The final score is 45-20. The Packers jumped all over them in the first quarter, never relented. Now we take a look at the map, and the Packers will be taking over the entire state of Ohio. The rest of the league might be happy not to see the Packers for a while, and this wheel is going to land on the Rams. That's all the way on the West Coast. The arrow is going to take them slightly southeast, right into the territory of the Chargers. The battle for Southern California shall commence. This was only a 4-point Ram lead at halftime, but here in the third quarter they started to pull away. Roman Gabriel rolls right, finds Hall of Fame wide receiver Tommy McDonald for the touchdown. That's going to make it 28-10. The Chargers could not get on the board here in the second half. The Rams completely pull away, winning the game 40-10. So all the gains the Chargers made by picking up the state of Arizona now fall into the hands of the Rams, and they are now with the 49ers in control of the West Coast. We go back to the wheel, and it looks like it's going to land on the Packers. Uh-oh. Well, maybe they'll expand. Here is the arrow. That's going west. This is really interesting. This is a photo finish here. This somehow bypasses the Bears, doesn't hit the Vikings. Coming out of the center of that logo, that arrow's hitting Iowa. What a weird expansion, but the Packers are going to expand into Iowa, and again, a little bit of trouble trying to centralize this logo with Lake Michigan right there. Did the best we could, but they're basically back to where they were in Wisconsin to begin with. All that said, we've got an expansion, and now we're going back to the wheel. And we're getting the Falcons, an expansion team for 1966. Slightly to the southwest, that's going to hit 1966 other expansion team, the Miami Dolphins. The Falcons in the NFL, the Dolphins in the AFL. This could be an interesting matchup. Let's check it out. Now, I like a good defensive game, but this one was pretty tough. We're talking about terrible interceptions, terrible fumbles, bad fake punt calls. Here's another interception. That's Dolphins corner Jimmy Warren. He makes the pick and he just takes off. This is going to be an easy pick six touchdown. You know, in a battle of two expansion teams, I guess the Dolphins being at home had the advantage. This put them up 17-3. The final was 20-10. And there was almost as many interceptions in this game as there were completed passes. So Miami now is actually in a great position. They take over the state of Georgia and are going to be in isolation for a while. They're going to be able to expand some land and not get involved in playing. So they might wind up getting deeper in here than you might expect for, especially for an expansion team. As more teams fall by the wayside, we go back to the wheel, and it's going to land on the Broncos. Very likely they're going to be expanding here, slightly to the southwest. That's going to be into the state of New Mexico. At this point now, the Broncos lose their isolationism, and they're going to have to play at some point. Back to the wheel we go. It's going to be landing once again on the Bears. Can they avoid the mistake of attacking the Packers? They cannot. That's going just about straight north. They're going to have to take on their ancient rivals and a team that has so far already won 2 games on their field. Let's see if they can make it 3. It's 17-9 Packers here in the 4th quarter. We got Paul Hornig off the bench for an injured Jim Taylor. Look at this run. Spin, spin, spin. Oh, he can't quite get into the end zone. But they're going to go ahead and reward him here on the very next play. Let him get the touch. That's going to extend the Packers' lead. It's going to be 24-9 with the extra point. That's going to be our final. The Bears gave it a run, but the Packers right now, no one's able to go in there and beat them. And with this win, take a look at the map now. They control pretty much the entire Midwest. The question is, will more people try to attack them, or will they be looking to extend their land? As the size of these wheel slots continue to grow, we give it another spin. It lands on the Washington Redskins, what they were called back in 1966. Arrow takes them to the northeast. That's going to hit the Baltimore Colts, and we're going to get a matchup of Maryland here. The Redskins have played a great game, leading 21-9. The Colts are driving. That's a handoff to Lenny Moore, and he gets through 3 different players, and he looks to be headed. No, he fumbles. Oh my goodness, Ricky Harris causing the fumble, and it's plays like that that have prevented the Colts from doing anything in this game. They'll lose 21-12. This has got to be an upset. The Colts are the first top 5 team to be eliminated by a team from outside the top 5. So while the win was impressive, the land mass acquisition, not really, but you got to start somewhere. The Redskins knock the Colts off the map and take over the state of Maryland. 10 teams have been eliminated, 14 remain. The wheel will give us the New York Giants. They're surrounded, they're going to have to play. The arrow goes to the northeast. That's going to hit Long Island, which is part of New York, which gives us the Buffalo Bills. Interesting matchup here. The Bills being one of the better AFL teams, and the Giants grading out as the worst team in 1966. Let's see how truly big a gap there is between the leagues. The Bills take the ball on the opening drive and have no problems moving it down the field. That's a wide open rookie wide receiver, Bobby Crockett, for the touchdown. That comes off the hand of Jack Kemp. The Bills jump out to a 7-0 lead. The Giants never get anything going. 26-0 is your final score here, so I guess the gap between leagues isn't quite what we thought it was. The Bills will take over the northern half of New Jersey and slightly expand their land. The next elimination will leave us with half the teams we started with, and the Oilers are being called on for the first time. The arrow is going slightly to the northeast, but not far enough to avoid the Cowboys. The battle for Texas will now begin. The Cowboys are in deep here, down 17-7, 4th quarter. It's 4th and 2. Don Meredith passes. That's Bullet Bob Hayes, makes the catch, gets away from the defender. Tackled down inside the 15. The Cowboys still have life. Very next play, Meredith drops back, finds Bob Hayes again, and he's a sprinter, all right. That is a touchdown. Dallas is still in this. It's 17-14 after the extra points. Here on 3rd and 8, the Oilers have the ball. The Cowboys break through the line. The pass is incomplete. Cowboys get the ball back. Not a lot of time left. Don Meredith drops back. He throws it deep to Pete Gent. That is the author of North, Dallas 40, making the huge catch under 10 seconds ago. Danny Villanueva is going to come out to kick the field goal. Lines it up, and he nails it. The Cowboys' frantic comeback takes us into overtime, tied at 17. The Oilers win the toss. On 3rd and 14, George Blanda drops back, finds Charlie Hennigan, huge play. Great throw, great catch. They get close to midfield. Now it's 2nd and 9. Blanda drops back, and that is Bob Lilly breaking through the line, getting a huge sack. His second of the game. 3rd and 17, can they do it again? Lilly gets the pressure and it forces the overthrow. That was intended for Bob McLeod. 2nd and 3, the Cowboys now have it. The pitch to Dan Reeves, former head coach of the Denver Broncos, New York Giants, Atlanta Falcons. People forget he was a good football player. Good run down to the 35. Trying to get into field goal range. What a game this has been. Meredith hands off to Don Perkins, and he's like a steamroller. Oh, what a run. That's a touchdown. Leave the kicker on the bench. What a comeback for the Cowboys, scoring the last 16 points of the game. 23-17. They really didn't need to go through all that, you would think, against a team like Houston, but here they are. They're going to advance in Imperialism, and that was the game of the season, 1966 so far. Half the teams remained. There are some teams that have not been called on at all. This is going to land on the 49ers. They played in our first game. Arrow goes to the southeast, and that's just going to miss Nevada. The 49ers are going to have to go into Los Angeles and play the Rams. The 49ers got out to a big halftime lead, but the Rams are coming back. It's 21-13 in the fourth. That's running back Tom Moore looking for the end zone. He's caught from behind. It's going to be 1st and goal at the 2. They are going to pitch to Jim Steiger off the bench. He gets to the 1. 2nd down. They're going to try the pitch again, and he dives, but he comes up short. That's 3rd down. And the handoff's going to Moore. No, it's play action. Oh, Gabriel can walk in. And he dives short. What is going on? It's 4th and goal. And Steiger's going to be stood up. Oh my goodness. Reminiscent of the Super Bowl 16 goal line stand by the 49ers. This is George Mira, the backup quarterback. Hits Dave Parks, a leaping catch. They get out from the shadow of the goal line. That's going to win the game for the 49ers. Another upset here. The team's doing good. I'm proud of them. They win this game 21-13. With the victory, they take over the Rams' land. They're not in isolation, but they have a whole lot of land up north ahead of them. And in time, they can be dominating a significant portion of the western United States. Let's see what the old wheel has in store for us this time. Looks like it's going to be landing on the 49ers. The arrow is going to take them to the northeast. That's going to be an expansion into the state of Nevada. So this idea of the 49ers taking over the west, starting to look like it could happen. We'll try this again. Looks like the wheel is going to give us the Patriots, just skipping over the Chiefs. They might have to play a game this time. But the arrow's going to hit them slightly to the west on the edge of Vermont. So they'll be expanding their land, and they are now open to attack just a little bit more. Our next game is going to take us down to 10 teams. Let's see if the wheel wants to give us that. It will not be the Chiefs again. That wheel goes to the Cowboys. The arrow goes northwest, so we're getting a game. The Cowboys go to Denver to face the Broncos. The Broncos actually led this game 7-0, but that's not where we are now. It's 28-10 Dallas. The pitch goes to Dan Reeves. Gets into the end zone for the touchdown. That'll make the score 35-10 after the extra point. And our final score will be 42-10. Sorry, Broncos fans, I know you're already familiar with that score from Super Bowl 22. So with that victory, the Cowboys will officially take over the Broncos' land, setting up a potential future matchup between the 49ers and Cowboys. We're officially down to 10 teams now. Might this wheel select the Chiefs? No, it's going to go to the Cowboys. Unbelievable. Chiefs don't want to play, do they? Arrow goes northwest. That will expand the Cowboys into the state of Utah, making a 49er Cowboy matchup even more inevitable. The Bills, Chiefs, and Vikings have had zero involvement so far, and this is going to pass the Chiefs and hit the Niners again. Unfortunately, I somehow lost the recording of the arrow spin, but I did capture the arrow itself, and it gives us this photo finish that expands the 49ers into Oregon. And it's not like the Chiefs are bad or anything. They were in the Super Bowl and they came in ranked number 2. And look at this. It is the 49ers again. I think this wheel really wants that 49ers-Cowboys matchup. That's exactly what we're going to be getting. The winner of this will not only have by far the most land, but will also be in isolation. The Cowboys have a 14-0 lead late in the second half. This kickoff goes to Dave Kopay. He's trying to make something happen here, but that ball is loose. Cornell Green forces the fumble, and it's picked up by defensive lineman Jim Colvin, who returns it for a touchdown at the speed of light. This gives the Cowboys a 21-0 lead right before the stroke of halftime. Needless to say, that's all they needed. A simple 30-3 victory for the Cowboys. Quick little side note here, I noticed this just a little bit too late that I accidentally assigned the 49ers as the home team. But since the Cowboys won the game, there was no point going back to change it. So all that land the 49ers had now belongs to the Cowboys. They have the largest landmass in the country and have now entered isolation. Our next game is going to get us down to our final 8 teams. The wheel selects the Patriots. They're either going to play Buffalo or expand. It's going west. That means they're going to play Buffalo in this all AFL matchup. At the end of a low-scoring game here with 30 seconds left, the Patriots are going to tack on a touchdown for insurance. That's Gino Cappelletti. The final score of this game is going to be 17-7 New England, but Gino Cappelletti scored every point for the Patriots. I mean every point. Touchdowns, 2 extra points, and a field goal. So the Patriots will take the Bills off the map, expanding their land into the state of New York. We're getting closer and closer to the end of crowning our first Imperialism champion. The wheel passes the Chiefs again and gets the Dolphins. It's a guaranteed expansion. They're in isolation. They're going to go ahead and grab the state of Alabama. I think I'm kind of invested in this wheel hitting the Chiefs. It's not going to get there. It's going to stay with Pittsburgh, and the arrow is going to take them directly east. And now that the Patriots have expanded some territory, this gives Pittsburgh the chance to attack them. Just short of the 2-minute warning in the first half, we have a tied game 7-7. Patriots on the 6-yard line, play action pass. Babe Perilli fires to the back of the end zone. That's a touchdown to wide receiver Art Graham. That gives the Patriots a 14-7 lead, and those right there are the winning points. Patriots started off dormant, but are coming on strong now. They win this game 21-7. And taking a look at the map here, they're getting quite a bit of territory after they take the Steelers out. Only 7 teams remain. The wheel might give us the Vikings. It also might clip into the Cowboys. That is on the Cowboys. The arrow goes to the northeast. The Cowboys are going to continue to increase their land. They are picking up the state of Wyoming. Let's give this another whirl. And that might be the Patriots, it might be the Vikings. And it just gets into the Vikings. There you go, they get called on for the first time. And the arrow's taking them directly into the Packers' territory. They're going to be the next team up to try to knock out the champs. The Packers lead 14-0 in the third quarter. This is going to be a chance to put the game away. Hand off to fullback Jim Taylor. He's not going down. As a matter of fact, he's going to the house. That's a touchdown. This is an overall super impressive performance by the Packers. Final score 31-0. They shut out a Fran Tarkenton-led offense. And they are, at this point, the unequivocal favorites to win Imperialism. Looking at the map here, Minnesota doesn't have a whole lot of land in comparison to how much Green Bay already has, but the Packers are going to add it to their haul anyway. Just a mini spoiler warning here, we're going to have a bunch of expansion in a row, so we're going to go through it kind of quickly. That's the Patriots going southwest. It's close. They're going to grab West Virginia for their expansion. We're going to get the Patriots on the wheel again. They're going to head to the northeast. And looking at the map, that's going to take them to Maine. The wheel now lands on the Cowboys. They're heading just north, and that's going to grab the state of Montana. The wheel finally chooses the Chiefs, sends them south, so they're not going to play. They're going to expand into Arkansas. Now we go to the Dolphins. They're heading to the northeast, and they're going to grab South Carolina. And now 2 out of 3, the Chiefs are coming up. They're heading south again. That's Louisiana. No more south to go, though. The Cowboys are chosen. They're going to head to the northwest. That's going to grab Idaho. Once again, the wheel is going to find the Dolphins. They're going to head north, and they're going to grab North Carolina. All the Carolinas are gone. Packers on the board. They're going to the southeast. They're going to take the state of Kentucky. And the wheel chooses the Patriots. Also sends them southeast. That's going to grab Connecticut. And now the wheel will give us the Packers, barely. And they're sending them east. Okay, after all that expansion, we do have a game. This is the first time actually in this season that the Packers are going to head on the road. They're going to go in and take on the Patriots. Well, after all that wait for a game, I don't have really much to show you here. The Packers actually led 52-3, and the Patriots scored a couple of times late to make it look somewhat more respectable. We want to give the Patriots some credit for getting this far by winning a couple of games, but at the same time, you want to cover your eyes on this one. The Packers had seven interceptions in this game. Look at that. That is 3 for Tom Brown, 2 for Willie Wood, 2 for Herb Adderley. This game was a disaster for the Patriots, but the Packers are the champs, and they're moving on. They are taking over this entire swath of land that used to belong to the Patriots. 5 teams remaining, which means only 4 games remain. The wheel doesn't like the Redskins anymore. That's going to the Packers. Going to the Southwest, they're going to go ahead and expand here. The state of Tennessee is sitting right there for them. That will end the Dolphins' isolation. We'll take another shot at finding a game here. The wheel will hit the Dolphins. Is the end of their isolation going to be their undoing? Look at that. The second the isolation ends, they're back on the march. The Dolphins are going to have to go to Green Bay to try and stay alive. The defense has been carrying the day and the season for the Packers, but let's take a look at their offense here. This is a long touchdown pass from Bart Starr to Carroll Dale late in the game. The Packers already lead. This just puts it away. 43 yards for the touchdown, 27-0 final. Miami didn't do anything too poorly in this game. It just got overwhelmed by Green Bay's talent. And now Green Bay is basically controlling almost the entire eastern half of the United States. There's still some pockets of resistance there, but we are now down to our final 4 teams. And of that final 4, let's see who the wheel selects. It's gonna be the Chiefs. Will they finally play a game? The arrow goes northwest. Nope, that's gonna take them into the state of Oklahoma. The Chiefs keep surviving without having to play, and their land gets a little bigger. We go back to the wheel, and it looks like for the first time since very early, the Redskins are going to get called on. They can expand, but they're going north, and they're going to have to play the Packers in Green Bay. It's been a back-and-forth affair. The Packers lead 28-24 in the fourth quarter. Play-action rollout by Bart Starr. Throws to the back of the end zone, caught by Boyd Dowler. Touchdown. It's 35-24. The Redskins have been responding all day long. Can they do it again? They got Sonny Jurgensen at quarterback. 2:50 to go. Drops back. Throws, and that's Herb Adderley jumping the route, taking it all the way back in for the touchdown. That is a backbreaker. And as a matter of fact, not only does it give the Packers the 42-24 lead, it extends them well beyond to a 49-24 victory. Certainly, this final score does not indicate how close this game was. The champs keep rolling, and you can't say they're not fighting champions. This is their 7th victory here in 1966. They're going to need at least one more. It's a small piece of land, but it does take Washington out of the game. 2 teams will play. 1 team will advance to the finals. The wheel sneaks in and picks the Cowboys. That is going just slightly east. We need to double check this because it's a big deal whether or not this hits Kansas or Nebraska. If it hits Kansas, it really puts the Chiefs in a bind, and it looks like it is. So the Cowboys will take over the state of Kansas, expand their land, and the Chiefs are virtually surrounded now. Let's try the wheel again, and it's going to give us very clearly the Packers. Arrow's going to take them to the northwest, and that's actually going to hit North Dakota. It's an awkward looking expansion, but an expansion nonetheless. Once we secure a game, all expansion will be over. This wheel lands on the Chiefs, and unless they grab Mississippi, this is going to be a game. They're going slightly southwest, clearly going into the state of Texas, incidentally, which of course is part of the Cowboys' territory. The Chiefs are finally going to take the field, and they have to do so in Dallas. And the Packers, you can't say they haven't earned it, will play for the Imperialism Championship of 1966. Both teams have excellent defenses, and we're about to head into halftime scoreless. The pressure comes to Don Meredith, and he throws an interception to Fred Williamson, and that will clinch us a scoreless first half. Not something you see all the time. Now in the second half, the Cowboys are driving. The handoff goes to Don Perkins, and he's dragging the defense to the inch line. An important tackle there because the Cowboys are now settling for a field goal. And it's a fake, and it's a failed fake, so it's still scoreless. But the Chiefs have the ball. The pitch goes out to Jack Cohn, in for the injured Mike Garrett. He's taken down in the end zone for the safety by Leroy Jordan. And now the Cowboys lead 2-0. Unbelievable. Kansas City now, they have passed midfield. The dump off goes to Curtis McClinton, and he makes a couple of great moves, still going. Gets it down to about the 10-yard line, but now the Chiefs are settling for a field goal. We're in the fourth quarter. This is 35 yards. Mike Mercer puts it up, and he barely makes it. 3-2 is our score. This is not Royals Rangers. It is Chiefs Cowboys. Now the Chiefs have the ball. An ill-advised pass to Fred Arbanas. Lucky that didn't get picked off. Now it's 3rd and 5. The handoff goes to Burt Cohn. He looks like he's going to be stopped, but he gets the first down. Very important play, giving the Chiefs the opportunity to get into the end zone. They've been knocked back now. 2nd and 17. Dawson looks for his main man, Otis Taylor. Catches it in the end zone. Folks, we have a touchdown. It is now 9-2. That's a temporary score. The Chiefs are going to make this extra point. It's 10-2. Now the Cowboys face 4th and 3. This might be the game here. Don Meredith looks to Pete Gent. He gets the first down. The Cowboys keep the drive alive. Next play. Meredith drops back, looks for Bob Hayes. Makes the catch. First down, drive stays alive. 30 seconds to go. From the 14, Meredith looks. Fires for Bob Hayes. Ooh, he led him too far, almost picked. They're going to get another shot here on 2nd down. The drop back, the throw to Walt Garrison. He's taken down. And will they get this playoff? They do not. The time expires and the Chiefs win this game 10-2. Yes, that looks like a low-scoring game, but it was certainly exciting. And the Chiefs get that huge win. Looking at the map here, the Kansas City Chiefs kind of led a charmed life here. Only had to play once, but it was in Dallas and they got the win. And now all of a sudden, looky here, we're going to have a rematch of Super Bowl I and Imperialism I. Packers versus Chiefs. All we got to do now is spin the wheel to see which side is attacking and which side will be playing at home. And here is that final spin. It's going to land on the Packers. That means it's going to be Green Bay at Kansas City for all the marbles. Len Dawson throws an interception to who else? Herb Adderley. He's got to be, I guess, the MVP to this point for the Packers. Just like that, they have jumped out to a 7-0 lead, and they don't have any plans of holding up. This is the punt return from Donnie Anderson. He breaks a tackle, gets into the open field, breaks a couple more tackles. He's finally brought down, and just a couple of plays later, Bart Starr is going to find, again, who else? Carroll Dale has been a star for the Packers this entire run. Jim Taylor gets a touchdown right there. We go into halftime 21-6 Green Bay. This is looking like it can be a complete blowout, just like Super Bowl I was. The Chiefs do well to force a 3-and-out to start the second half. The Packers are coming out to punt, and the Chiefs get a hand on it. That's a block, and it's run back to the 2. They didn't get it into the end zone right there, but on first down, they drop back to pass. And Len Dawson finds Otis Taylor for the touchdown. I suppose if you're going to throw the ball, do it on first down. Throw the defense off. Well, just like that, the Chiefs find themselves a little closer. They're still behind, but you know what? They're trying to get even closer. They're going to go for 2 points here, and that would make it a 7-point game. Of course, if they don't get it, it would be a 9-point game. Interesting decision. And the handoff goes to Mike Garrett. Nah, he didn't go anywhere. So it remains 21-12. Here on the ensuing kickoff, it's Carroll Dale, who's been a big hero for the Packers. He wanted to do it again, but that's a fumble. That's forced by safety Bobby Hunt. And the Chiefs are in business, y'all. A few plays later, they're at the 25, it's 1st and 10. Curtis McClinton made such a huge play in the Cowboy game, makes another one in this game. This is for a touchdown. Nobody told the Chiefs this game was over. And with the extra point coming, it's going to be 21-19. Here it's 3rd and 1. The Packers trying to extend the drive. The pitch to Elijah Pitts, it gets swarmed. The Chiefs wind up trying for a field goal. Here is Mike Mercer, 46 yards, and he lives dramatically, but he makes the kick just like that. The Chiefs now enter the 4th quarter with a 22-21 lead. The Packers mounting the comeback. Fires across the middle to Marv Fleming. That's a great catch. Packers are in field goal range, but they may try to buffer that lead a little more. Starr drops back, almost a minute to go. Throws to Carroll Dale, gets in front of the defender. Unbelievable game for him. The Packers retake the lead in dramatic fashion, and they will win the game in dramatic fashion. A final score of 28-22, a 4th quarter comeback after conceding 16 third quarter points. The colors of the American flag may be red, white, and blue, but in 1966 the United States is covered in green. Just as they did during the real regular season, the Green Bay Packers win Imperialism 1 and rule the roost in 1966. Sometimes it's a simple case of art imitating reality. We see the real results, we see the imperialism results. They're the exact same. Packers Chiefs, Packers win it, Chiefs runners up. Let's take a look at this Packer roster, starting with the offense. This is a simple who's who of NFL legends, Hall of Famers from top to bottom, across the line and at the skill positions. The defense is certainly no slouch either, packed to the gills with legends and Hall of Famers themselves. And as we mentioned, the MVP for the Packers this season was probably cornerback Herb Adderley. These will be for all the stat heads out there, of which I include myself. These are all the scores from 1966, beginning with the 49ers win over the Raiders and ending with the Chiefs beating the Cowboys before falling to the Packers. Our records from 1966 indicate that only the Packers won more than 3 games, winning 8 of course, and everybody else of course is going to take a loss. If you don't lose, then you win Imperialism. And we'll have the overall records here as well. Obviously this being the first season, the overall records are the same as 1966. It'll be interesting to see how these change over the years. Wanted to thank you all so very much for tuning in to this edition of Imperialism. We're going to be coming in next with 1967. Should be a few days. That will be the pattern going forward. Please go ahead and take a moment to like the video, share the video, and once again I ask of you kindly to subscribe to the channel. As we leave you, we once again show you the map of Green Bay winning the United States. Have a great day everybody, and we will see you next time on Imperialism.